I have a question that's going to alienate so many people in our audience, but I really want to know the answer to this question.
Okay.
Would you ever help another woman put in a tampon? I know it's not all what you're expecting on the Get the Hell Out of Debt podcast.
What? Okay, I have so many questions. Why in the first place are you even asking this question?
I've been thinking about this for a month.
Mm.
Okay. So I was watching Kaylee Andrews and Daryl Ann Denner's Instagram stories. They're
Yeah.
sisters. She was going to quit the swim club or the swim team or miss out on some sort of swim party or something because she was menstruating and she only wore pads and she didn't know. And so her sister, Daryl Ann, was like, well, that's stupid. You need to know how to do this. You're not missing out on life because of this.
Mhm.
And Kaylee couldn't figure it out. And so Daryl Ann helped her. And I was like, oh, I didn't grow up with an older sister. So that's kind of cool.
Mm.
Could I do that for another person? I wasn't, and I know you and your sister are close.
Oh, not that close.
So you're a no?
Well, I think when you asked me, I was thinking of somebody that was suddenly like incapacitated and couldn't do it for themselves anymore. And then I was going to have to be doing their tampons forever, is what I
Oh,
think that I pictured. As you know, I am very not nursey. I am the antithesis of nursing. That is the field I would go into last. So I have so much love and respect for nurses. That ain't me. I need to stay in my lane.
right,
So
right.
if it was something ongoing, but I now this changes things because if it was teaching someone, I'm not sure I could do it. You know what? I'm going to be in the stall
Mhm.
next to you and I'm going to give you like a play by play of how to insert the tampon. I'm pretty sure I'm not going in there.
Okay. Okay. How did you learn?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what happened. I had a friend, I better not name her just in case she's listening and doesn't want me to talk about tampons and her in the same sentence. Let's call her Melissa. Melissa
Melissa.
and I were going to the beach on like a school trip. So I was in
Oh,
high school and same thing, I'd never used one. And she was like, listen, you're going to use tampons. This is it. We're going to use it. Okay. And she was giving me like a total rundown on how to do it. And it
yeah.
was life-changing, like, I'm eternally grateful to her for teaching me.
Yeah. One of the greatest inventions of all time. I learned by reading that little pamphlet on the box, which was not helpful. It was like IKEA instructions. Because you're like, it's a cross section of your body. I've never seen a cross section of my body. So I don't really know. Give me a diagram with what I'm seeing, like a 2D
Yeah, right, like, from what it
of
looks
what I
like
can see.
this.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Okay, well, I just was like, I heard about this. I thought, good for Daryl Ann. That is so cool. And I do think women need to be helping women more. I think this generation, probably the younger generation, is like, yeah, of course we all help each other with that. No big deal. We were a little more private about things. So anyway, I was just wondering.
And so you would do this for somebody.
Yes.
Go right in there, down, down and
I'd
dirty.
find a mirror, wear gloves or whatever, which is so weird because you're the type of person who you would drop a hairbrush in the toilet and use it, and I would throw it away. But yet I would get right down in somebody's business and be like, here, I'm going to show you one time, and now you're going to do it. I would absolutely, because I think it's life changing.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
think,
Oh, I'm not gonna leave you stranded. I'm gonna get you where you need to go.
but you're just going to be like, okay, are you feeling any resistance? Now go a little to the, maybe you're right. I don't know. He would be in the other stall.
I don't know, I guess that makes you a better friend than me because, yeah, I might not go there, but I won't leave you stranded. Anyway, I will hook you up. I'm just not gonna touch your privates.
Friends don't let friends make mistakes.
That's true. That's very true. You are a really good friend. Have I
I
told you that
don't know.
lately? I'm going to tell you that right now. You're a good
Well,
friend.
okay, in all seriousness, we all know that you're a way better friend than I am. I don't deserve good friends because I am not as emotionally intelligent as you are. You're very, very good. And I will have a whole conversation. I'll spend a day with you and then later be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that whole time I didn't ask these 7 things that I needed to ask. I'm really good at sending memes. That's what I'm good at. But you are truly a good friend.
I feel like memes though are our love language.
I'm just out here pebbling away. Couple of penguins. Sharing pebbles.
We had a post in our Facebook group though, where someone was talking about an interaction with a friend. So this makes sense for us to talk about this today. Let's call this friend Nutella.
I love that name. My favorite name.
Can come up with
If I
any.
had a daughter, I would name her Nutella Skye Kely. I really would.
She'd be super popular. We'd be
Her
so
sister Chai would be great.
okay, Nutella says, I was talking to a friend who I learned used a loan company, not a bank, for a loan. I asked what the interest was because I was curious. They said it was 40%. So basically, Nutella says it was murder interest. That made me giggle. She says, I asked if they wanted to borrow my copy of the Get the Hell Out of Debt book, and they said, that's okay. Money isn't real. To
Mm.
me, this signaled that this someone didn't ask for advice and that I should switch the conversation topics immediately. She later then says that she told her husband about the conversation and he asked why I didn't dish out advice. He said that if this person is my friend, wouldn't I care enough about them to provide them with some financial advice? I said that I'm happy to stay in my own lane these days and focus on getting my finances and life in order.
Hmm. God bless those men that want to swoop in and rescue. Hey, where would we be without the firefighters and the policemen and all those cool dudes in the world? Oh, this is a tough one. What would you do if you were her?
Yeah, well, that's hard because I think maybe it would just open up another conversation. Like without dishing advice, I would ask more questions, I think. Let's talk about this a little bit more. No advice, just curious to get a little better feel for what this friend's mindset is.
See, this is why you're a better friend.
Why? Because you're going in? You're
Well,
going
at
in?
40% interest, I think I'm shoulding all over this person. Like Nutella says, it's murder interest. That's a lot. I would have a hard time. Here's where, when you have to stay in your own lane, and I love what she's saying here. She's right. I'm wrong. Nutella and you are right. Staying in your own lane is the right place to be in the situation because the relationship always has to come before money. We talk about that entirely in Naked Money meetings, whether it's friendships or an intimate relationship. You have to prioritize the things in the right order in order for finances to work. I just don't think I would be able to stop myself.
Well, at 40%. And here's the thing, your lane is money. So I think this scenario is different for you because you should be telling us about money.
I would have a hard time if somebody said to me, it's 40% interest. Can you imagine my face if I was like, how are your kids? Just steam would come up the side of my ears. I would not be okay. I would not be okay.
Okay, okay.
But I think this is important to talk about because a lot of people, when they start on this journey, they start on the journey solo. It's very rare that two partners in a relationship or two friends in a relationship decide to change their money together. And so we hear this all the time in the Get the Hell Out of Debt community, and it's what we teach over and over again. If you are ready to change your finances and your husband or your wife is not, you still need to go on the journey. But so many people try and get their partner on board, and it's like pulling teeth or trying to get a cat in a bath. It's not going to happen. You're not going to be successful at it. And so the most important thing you can do is the part that you alone can control
Mhm,
and focus on that and make your own progress and build your own financial confidence through small steps in financial competence, which is keeping your word to yourself. It's not about keeping your word to your partner or anybody else. It's about really, truly honoring your own personal integrity and keeping your word to yourself. Do you want more? I know you do. Why wouldn't you want more? More
Or
of this,
what? What do I
more,
want more of?
more of this. Come hang out in the online course, Forget the Hell Out of Debt. The link is in the description. You just got to click it, sign up, and we'll see you in there. The problem is this friend of hers is blind to what's going on right now and probably chooses to be so. I think this piece about how money isn't real was so cute. I hear that all the time. People say, oh, like money's a construct or money's an emotion. That's great. How are you going to get your groceries with your feelings? I understand the philosophy, but the practicality of this is it is a very real thing. And I don't know why we are the only species on the planet that has to pay to live here, but we are. And so let's just understand the rules of the game and then play the game to win.
Mhm,
That's going to be the most important part. I would be terrible, actually, if you said to me, what do you think of this sparkly purple eyeshadow?
mhm.
And I was like, I don't know if it's really great on you. And you're like, okay, but I'm wearing it anyway because makeup isn't real. Okay. I would let you do it. I wouldn't be happy. And I would make sure I Photoshop it out of photos. I'd give you the face tune and all. I'd do everything I could. But you do sometimes have to let people make mistakes, and it's the hardest thing to do.
Well, this one's a big mistake, though. This one's going to be so costly. I'm just sad that the friend is also not open to listening, right? Again, they don't have to take any advice that anyone gives them, but just always be open to anything that anyone wants to tell you about or teach you about. Whether or not you choose to listen,
Mm.
you can decide that after. But why wouldn't you be open to just listening?
Well, we talk about that inside the Get the Hell Out of Debt program. One of the first rules when you first join is we tell you, be open to being wrong
Yeah.
and get practiced at knowing nothing. Assume you know nothing and hear everything for the first time with new ears, because sometimes old assumptions or old ways of being take over new behaviors or new possibilities. And we don't want those old patterns, especially if we're in debt. We don't want old patterns or old thinking to impact us, because otherwise we're going to end up more in debt, or we're not going to make any progress on our debt. So we really want to be open to possibilities. But it's a difficult thing to teach, because when you're open to people's perceptions, and sometimes they're wrong, and they can be passionate about it, but they can be passionately wrong. But I think the practice of staying open allows you to maintain your skills as a critical thinker. So you can hear other people's opinion, understand where they're coming from, let them be wrong, and still make a right choice for you. That's a really important skill to have, especially, right now with all of this stuff going on in the world and all of the politics and everything happening. We're so divided, and we're taught to be divided. And instead, if we could go, I'm curious why you think that. I'm curious why you decided to do this 40% interest. Were you feeling desperate? And maybe there's something we don't know. Maybe the total cost of borrowing on this loan is $12,000. And this friend knows that in 60 days, they're getting a $20,000 bonus. And
Mhm,
so they needed to do something, right? And we don't know. Maybe we are wrong.
mhm,
There's possibility there. I don't love this. I don't love the 40% interest, but maybe there was no other choice aside from bankruptcy for wherever this person's finances were. Who knows?
mhm.
So it gets complicated and it gets tricky, but I know I would have a hard time staying in my lane, but I know that doing that would be the right choice.
I don't think I've worn purple sparkly eyeshadow, have I?
Well, you had that green stuff
Yeah, I
that
know.
in
It was
March you
pretty.
were not willing to throw out.
I
Was
know.
it pretty?
Yes.
Oh, tell me more about that. Was it pretty? Did you get lots of compliments on it? Did it go with any of your outfits?
Listen, stay in your lane.